go ahead and like to open up today's meeting with the public comment section. Anybody who wishes to address the Planning and Zoning Commission on any matter except items on the agenda and public hearings that are included on the agenda. Please keep the comments related to items on when we get to the agenda hearings will be heard with a specific item when that starts. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes. Correction, McClellan is here. Would anybody wish to come speak at the public comment? In that case, we'll go ahead and close the public comment portion and move to consent agenda items. Has everyone had a chance to go over and read the minutes or make sure the minutes are in order and to your liking? Then I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
I'll make a motion. We approve the August 16th, 2023 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes.
Bradford makes the motion.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Burden. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. The Planning and Zoning Commission reserves the right to meet in executive session closed to the public at any time in the course of this meeting to discuss matters listed on the agenda as authorized by the Texas Open Meetings Act. I would request that the board moves to executive session to discuss matters with the attorney. Do we need to make a motion on that? No? Okay.
Mr. Chair, if you just note the time.
Time 6:02. proceed on to the first public hearing item, which is hold a public hearing to discuss and consider making a recommendation to town council regarding a concept plan amendment for a master plan development generally located at the southeast corner of South Collins Road and US Highway 80, known as the Long Creek Crossing MPD-02 zoning district, to allow a restaurant with drive-through on Lot 2R, Long Creek Crossing Edition, case 1791-Z, Long Creek Crossing MPD-02 concept plat amendment.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Commission, member of staff and town attorney, member of the audience, Chairman. If you wouldn't mind reading item number 3 as well, which is the immediate following item, because these two items on the agenda are related. So I'd go through the presentations for both after you read item number 3, and then the applicant has a presentation. After that, we can have discussion, questions, and public comment.
On town's recommendation, we'll go ahead and also read item number 3, discuss and consider making a recommendation to town council regarding a site plan application for a restaurant with drive-through, specifically Taco Bell, generally located at the southeast corner of South Collins Road at US Highway 80 on approximately 1.23 acre property described as Lot 2R, Long Creek Crossing Edition, within the Long Creek Crossing MPD-02 zoning district, case 1777-SP, Taco Bell site plan.
Thank you, Chairman. So the first application that we are going to discuss tonight is the concept plan amendment for Long Creek Crossing MPD. It's a master plan development. So it's located, the lots that are kind of named on this aerial photo on your map is the overall MPD. It contains the Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, Panda Express, Burger King, and there are 2 medical offices on the furthest east. The property is roughly about 10 acres in size, located at the southeast corner of South Collins Road and State Highway US 80. The concept plan amendment request is to allow for a restaurant with drive-through on Lot 2R. So the vacant lot that you can see on the aerial photo located between Chick-fil-A and Starbucks, that's the one we are referring to as Lot 2R. So this concept plan amendment will allow a proposed restaurant with a drive-through on that lot. The reason for this concept plan amendment, why we were requesting to process this concept plan amendment, is guided through the MPD ordinance that governs this development. On section 4B, it says any proposed change to the approved concept plan locations for uses shall require an amended concept plan approval. Next slide, please. So this is the original concept plan, and in your packet you also have a bit more history on the development of this site, or how this whole project came into being. The table on top left of your slide shows the number of lots and as per the original concept plan, how each of those lots were envisioned to have either a restaurant use or a medical office building use or a gas station slash retail, gasoline service station slash retail on lot 2. So the MPD zoning was originally adopted by Town Council in 2017. Total 7 lots, only 1 still undeveloped, which is this current lot 2R. Several site plan and plat applications have been processed since 2017, and in your staff report I have a detailed listing of all the projects and when they went through Town Council. For example, like when the Chick-fil-A site plan was approved by Town Council, or when certain replat applications were approved and considered by Town Council or the Planning and Zoning Commission. That gives you, kind of paints the picture of how this project came into being. This is the last undevelopment lot for this project. Next slide, please. This is the amending concept plan that the applicant has provided. As you can see from the original concept plan, there has been certain changes in the pattern made. The first, well, I say first, but if you go from the right to left on this concept plan or the amending concept plan, you have the first medical office building, then you have another medical office building that's kind of located longitudinally on lot 6. So originally on the concept plan, there was supposed to be one medical office building, and then next to it was supposed to be a restaurant building. Then you go farther towards west, where right now the proposed site plan that we are going to discuss right after this on Lot 2R, which is east of Chick-fil-A, that kind of a odd-shaped lot. That one was split between, the original Lot 2 was split into Lot 2R and Lot 3R. And in your packet, I have also included the copy of that replat that shows how the lots were split. Originally, those were the two properties which was supposed to have the service station and the retail building. On the next slide, you will see the analysis that we have provided besides the history of the development. The intent of the MPD concept plan was to not have more than 2 drive-through restaurants originally when it came through council for approval in 2017. It was expressed through the concept plan as well as their discussions and deliberations that more sit-down restaurants were desired at this project. The developer and the applicant has also produced another updated 2023 TIA, which is part of your packet, that concludes that more traffic has been generated at this overall Long Creek Crossing development than what was projected in 2017. Which the study also shows that the traffic light is warranted for the entire Long Creek Crossing development at the mutual drive, at the mutual shared access drive that exits from Chick-fil-A goes to Collins. So approving the concept plan amendment is a legislative decision. As required by state law and our zoning ordinance, we did send notifications within 200 feet of the subject property of this MPD. We have not received any response till date. Next slide, please. There are some site photos. I know I couldn't capture the whole project, but pretty much shows the development from looking from the other side. On the QT site, you can see the Chick-fil-A, and farther left, you can see Panda Express, Burger King, Starbucks. That's all of Long Creek Crossing. And if you could see from US Highway 80, you could see the medical office buildings. Where in the center there are a cluster of trees, that's where the empty lot is behind that big landscape area along the South Collins Road. If you would want to go to the next presentation, then I'll carry on with the site plan discussion. Thank you. The reason we requested that both presentation be done at the same time because it is a bit unusual where the approval or the decision on one kind of impacts the other. So what we looked at the previous application of the concept plan amendment, this one is specifically for that Lot 2R for a site plan approval for Taco Bell site, which is a restaurant with drive-through. It's roughly about 1.23 acres in area, the lot size, and the applicant is proposing a little bit of more than 2,000 square feet, 1-story building, which will be accessed through multiple shared access driveways from South Collins Road. You can see it on the aerial photo. Their main access point would be through the main, the shared driveway between Chick-fil-A and this side, as well as the other drive approach that is, thank you, Barton, that is through US Highway Service Road from Starbucks. Drivers who are driving on the service road can also enter the site through that mutual access drive. Next slide, please. So this is the snapshot of the site plan, the proposed site plan for the Taco Bell restaurant. I don't know, does this one have yes. So this is the proposed site layout, and I'm probably not gonna master this tonight. So if you can see the red pointer, that's the main drive. And if you go through, kind of follow that drive, the drive-through entrance is from the interior drive within the site. That's the entry only on the drive-through lane, the 2-lane that converges into one and then exits on the front of the, so it exits off of this drive. So someone coming out of the drive-through lane can either go through this direction or this direction. The building is proposed to be 23 feet tall. The building articulation as proposed meets the MPD design guidelines. They're required to have, for a restaurant use, one parking space for 100 square feet of floor area, which translates to 20 odd parking spaces. The applicant is proposing about 40 surface parking spaces on the site. 4 light poles of LED lights downcast are proposed. At this point, the applicant has not offered any signage plan. However, when they are ready, they will be required to go through another separate sign permit process to get the signage approved. The 2023 TIA does show an existing traffic to warrant a new traffic light at the intersection of South Collins Road at Chick-fil-A entry driveway. This is the snapshot of their proposed landscape plan. The area that I highlighted in green on the landscape plan, that's their 50-foot landscape buffer. That also contains their 5-foot wide proposed concrete sidewalk along the whole frontage. The parking lot interior is going to be broken by landscape islands containing 2 cedar elms, 4 cherry laurels, and several shrubs. Overall, 40% of the total site area is proposed to be landscaped, and there is a snapshot of the type of trees they are proposing, the large trees as well as the ornamental. This is the proposed colored building elevations. You have the black and white and the colored building elevations within your packet. The front elevation is basically, because the building is oriented inwards, facing almost like the Chick-fil-A lot. So the front elevation is that side. However, if you look at the side elevation on the right-hand side of your screen, that elevation is going to be facing South Collins. So that's the smaller side of the building. Then the rear elevation that's being shown on the bottom side of your screen, that's the back of the building, which would be technically facing or towards the Starbucks property. Then the other side elevation is also listed on this slide. Similar analysis on this site plan. This proposed site plan does meet all the technical requirements of the Long Creek Crossing MPD zoning. As stated in the staff report, they meet the articulation standards, landscaping standards, parking, basically the design regulations, as well as the development and site layout standards for the MPD. However, the proposed use, the restaurant with drive-through as it stands now, was not part of the original approved MPD concept plan at this location. As I was explaining in the previous presentation, if you recall, the lot 2, the original lot 2 was supposed to have the gas station and the retail or the convenience store, where the Taco Bell is now being proposed. So the restaurant use was not envisioned on this lot. That's the reason I kind of feel like it's a companion item, even though these are 2 distinct applications. So staff recommendation is, as a result, if the concept plan amendment is not approved by town council or recommended for approval, the Taco Bell site plan, as a result, will not be compliant with the MPD zoning. There are some site photos that I have after this. Again, that's the vacant lot right next to the Chick-fil-A site where this proposed restaurant is planning to occupy. And that's all I have for my presentation. If you have any question for staff, I'll be happy to answer. As mentioned, the applicant and their representative also have a presentation for the commission. If you would kindly allow them to present, and if you want to take questions after, we can do that as well.
Anyone have any questions for town staff? Then would the applicant like to come forward and state your name and address for the commission?
Certainly. Hello. Victoria Morris. I'm a land use attorney at Jackson Walker, 2323 Ross Avenue. We represent Provident Realty Advisors, the owner of the subject property located at 172 South Collins Road, and the development partner for the Long Creek Crossing Master Plan Development District. To ensure that the Commission had a complete history of the MPD and its relation to the applications before you, we prepared a letter that we have copies of today, but we're hopeful that it reached you all. Does anybody want a copy? No? Okay. Okay, so this MPD consists of 8 lots, 6 of which have been developed. Here's the property. one of which was dedicated to the town as open space, and the last remaining parcel is the subject of today's discussion. It is vacant land. To clarify one of staff's comments regarding the medical office use, the two medical office uses on the east portion of the property, these uses were actually not included on the approved concept plan and were not expressly permitted in the PD, but they have been added to the property today. Both of those sites included restaurant uses. So before you today, the concept plan amendment application and the site plan application for Taco Bell. We have a few points that we want to discuss in more detail. First being the concept plan amendment review. Section 3B of the MPD, which you can see above, clearly establishes that the town administrator, or my understanding now that that's the town manager, has the authority to approve the concept plan amendment. This delegation of authority was actually carefully contemplated during numerous public hearings and deliberations before the MPD was even adopted, perhaps because the developer anticipated a scenario exactly like this, and council approved such delegation of authority. The staff report accurately states that the concept plan amendment is required before making any changes to the location of the approved use. So this is under the town administrator's authority because the use is approved and it's simply the location that requires the concept plan amendment. The town attorney has instructed that the application come before you today. So we respectfully disagree and would like to note that the concept plan amendment has not only never come before the commission before today, but more importantly, a concept plan amendment has never been required by the town at all. This is the concept plan amendment, which includes the proposed layout of the site plan application as well. The concept plan amendment also includes the current and existing condition on the property today. To deny this concept plan amendment is to deny what is on the property today. We have prepared this very confusing overlay of the existing site plan. At first sight, it's understandably confusing, but it's essential to understanding the history of the property and what's there today. The dark lines indicate the original concept plan lot layout, and the colorful lines indicate what is there today. So you can see that many of these, actually all of these lots have been reconfigured, many of them borrowing from the neighbor, and the uses have similarly changed. Second item is that the use is permitted by right at any location on the MPD property. Section 4B of the MPD ordinance above clearly states that the restaurants with or without drive-through facilities are permitted by right at any location on the property. Staff's report incorrectly cites the council meeting minutes stating that only 2 drive-through uses were contemplated, when in fact, the approved concept plan actually contemplates 3 drive-through restaurants in a conceptual manner. The staff report also claims that the intent of the PD was to have more sit-down restaurants, yet staff and town approved the removal of a designated sit-down restaurant pad for a medical office and dental office. Those are the 2 sites on the east portion of the property. And in fact, the MPD in its plain language delegates no limit as to how many of each use or even the type of use that is permitted on the property. The use table actually clarifies, it just says restaurant. And to support this understanding, we have copies of the 2017 Town Council minutes to share with you. I'll wait so that everybody can grab them too. If you turn to page 6, you will see that the developer expressed the importance of permitting restaurant uses by right at any location on the property, as restaurants will not sign documents if they don't know that they can go there by right. This is something that has been previously contemplated again and approved by the town. The prior applications that staff outlined as well, we will go through a couple of those. Not one of the prior site plan applications have been required to submit a concept plan amendment. This is because, as stated in section 3B of the MPD ordinance, the concept plan is merely illustrative of the development concept and is not intended to be an exact or final representation of this specific development. And this has not changed. This MPD is still in effect today. This I touched on earlier. This is the staff report snippet on the left-hand side and the land use chart on the approved concept plan on the right-hand side. Staff's report incorrectly identifies that the stated uses on the approved concept plan included a medical building, which is important because one of the uses listed by staff is not included on the concept plan. Again, that lot 7, was designated as a restaurant. 2 of those new uses, as mentioned, a medical office and a dental office, have been approved without a concept plan amendment. These uses were not expressly permitted on the concept plan, as you can see on that right-hand side land use chart. Despite these changes and without a concept plan amendment, staff and the town found compliance with the development standards and the concept plan. Following up with this is the lot configuration table that was also included with the letter, which basically outlines the proposed use on the conceptual plan and the existing uses that we see today, and also reiterating how many times these lots have been reconfigured. Just a visual aid of all of that as well. Finally, I just want to touch on the timeline of this application. The site plan application, was first submitted on March 3rd of this year. We received 2 rounds of comments, the second round coming April 4th, and that was the last time we received formal comments to this application. April 20th, we resubmitted to accommodate those comments that we received on April 4th. On May 16th, was when we first received word from staff regarding additional materials. By June 7th for P&Z scheduling. On June 5th, we submitted those materials. And on June 13th, staff indicated that there were outstanding matters that would require further review. Between July and August, there were back and forth communications trying to resolve the application status and any other outstanding issues that staff would like to discuss, but there was no progress or timeline shared with us. So on August 30th, which was a Wednesday, staff required a concept plan amendment application and requested that it be turned in by September 5th. September 5th was a Tuesday after a holiday. We submitted the concept plan amendment application, and we have yet to receive any comments to that application besides being here tonight with you. I will just pass it over to Suzanne Kedron, also on my team, for a brief moment. Thank you all.
Thank you. Good evening. Suzanne Kedron, 2323 Ross Avenue. We're still scratching our heads why we're here today. What has changed since 2017, 6 years ago when this master plan was adopted? What's changed since the last 7 of the 8 lots were developed? Now that we're here on the eve of the last and final lot being developed, it's a good question, and it's one I still grapple with. I'll tell you what hasn't changed: the law. We've shown you the specific references in the MPD ordinance that clearly state that the town administrator can approve variations to the concept plan. So then now, why do we find ourselves before you when the law clearly allows otherwise? Moreover, the approved MPD ordinance, i.e. the law, states that the concept plan is merely illustrative, and it's not intended to be an exact or final representation of the specific development. All that being said, we filed the amended concept plan over objection, yet in good faith, and we are here today. So what has changed? I know what hasn't changed: the law. The staff report is misleading, to say the least. To state that it was apparent that the intent of the MPD concept plan was to have not more than 2 drive-throughs is patently false. The illustrative site plan that was approved with the MPD ordinance showed 3. The official meeting minutes specifically state that the intent and goal of the MPD is to assure the number of restaurants can come in by right, without reference to location, number, or type. What has changed? Certainly not the law. The law explicitly states that the restaurant, and in specific, restaurants with drive-through facility, are permitted by right at any location within the property. That's clear. The law is settled. What has changed? I'll tell you what has not changed is the law. First, I don't understand why we are here before you today as the town administrator has authority to approve the concept plan amendment application. And second, there is no avenue available to the town to deny this concept plan. The use is not at issue today because it's permitted by right at any location. The site configuration reflects what is on the property today. To deny this is to deny what has already been developed. 7 of the 8 lots have already been developed and are out there today. Why has staff not provided any feedback to us regarding the concept plan amendment? It's because there are no outstanding issues. The law is settled. We have availed ourselves of a lengthy process fraught with mischaracterizations, but the one steadfast thing in this entire process is the law. The approved MPD ordinance is clear. It is a governing law, and it has not changed in 6 years since it has been approved. We ask that you follow the law. We ask that you follow the MPD ordinance. And in regards to the second companion case, the site plan for the Taco Bell, it is in compliance, which is what you heard from your own staff. The law, therefore, is settled, and we seek your approval of that plan based on that analysis. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant? That's not in attendance.
I do. I think it was mentioned during the applicant's comments that none of the prior sites were brought before town for any type of approval, and so this is a first. Maybe I misunderstood, but I'm reading your letter, and I'm seeing several mentions about town council approving these things along the way. So can you explain what you meant by this is the first?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the first concept plan amendment that has come before the town. Site plan amendments, site plan applications have certainly come to the town. That's a requirement for the restaurants under the MPD. But a concept plan amendment, which we're not in argument about whether or not a concept plan amendment was required. It is required under the MPD. It just wasn't ever requested or required by the town until now. And there is an avenue where the town administrator may approve that concept plan, and hence our confusion of being before you tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anybody, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing portion of this meeting today. Anybody who wishes to come up and speak, do they need to fill out a card? And please give your card to Sarupa. Pam Hollett, would you like to come up and speak? Please just state your name and address for the record.
Okay, Pam Hollett, 468 San Gabriel Drive. And once I heard them out and have more information, I understand that it's about the having to get an amendment approved to the site concept plan. Is that correct? Is that the issue, that they haven't gotten the amendment approved? Okay, well, on the card that I wrote, I said that just because there's been a precedent in the past for all these drive-through restaurants, we're now at max capacity, does not mean that we don't have the right to be able to review per the sake of our town and traffic flow and the things that have been happening on that corner with the congestion and the intersection. So has there been a traffic flow study? And is there any plans to take care of a traffic situation? Because even though that whole area has been developed with so many drive-throughs, there has to be a point of stopping and not doing more drive-throughs to put more traffic, and that's the issue that I wanted to bring up, so.
Thank you. Thank you again. I'm gonna try to pronounce this right. Gene Swank. Come on up. Please state your name and address for the record.
Gene Swank, 421 Mustang Drive, here in Sunnyvale. Most of our neighborhood was not aware of this tonight. 200 feet is not very much of a distance. I understand there's regulations with that number, but I can speak for our neighborhood in the past, and that we signed a petition of 100% of the affected neighbors against having an MPD just in case of situations like this tonight that are going on. You know, it's interesting. There was 2 promoters that were used to pass this, and I've got some of the verbiage in their words tonight with me. It's interesting tonight that I think at the end, instead of all the goodwill we heard about and all the wonderful things that were going to come into the town, we have threatening attorneys coming here tonight trying to strong arm and saying, how dare you ask questions about this in a public forum, allowing the residents to speak, especially when there's been so many changes that Provident has made since this all got promoted to help get passed. Good faith by Provident, I find that very misleading. So there's a lot of history on this plot of land, and there was, yes, they mentioned that there was the proposal for a QT on this, and for 5 years we came up, they kept trying to put a QT there, and eventually, I mean, we said you could still put this on another part of the intersection. Eventually they did. But one of the concerns that we brought up was potential trucks parking overnight, like a truck stop situation. And that was ridiculed by the Provident PR firms that they had at the time that said, that's ridiculous. That won't happen. You know, there's no way. Well, now you might notice that we actually have large signs telling truck drivers not to park next to the Quick Trip. So that actually has been a problem that Provident tried to downplay that we're now dealing with. I did not receive a notice for tonight. I'm the HOA president, and I think the HOA president ought to be informed. And so I'm here speaking on behalf of a lot of neighbors who, because they were not aware of this tonight, are not able to be here. They have activities with kids, they have other things they're obligated to do. And so anyway, so I wanted to speak about this. But here was a big part of our concern with this, which is what's materializing tonight, or at least attempting to materialize tonight, is what this MPD was about was not having to go through your committee to do your job, to make sure things that were promised are being done the way they, and also the way they should be done. And that was our big concern with the MPD. And everybody said, the people promoting this all said, oh, you can trust Provident, go look at Royal Lane and Central, look what they've done there. Does that look anything like what's going on here? I brought with me a flyer. Now this is in Provident's own words. This isn't our words, this isn't the town's words. This is Provident's own words, what they used to pass this development. And they repeatedly say this: convenient, upscale retail and dining that will keep Sunnyvale spending at home for the residents. That sounds pretty good. It's not what happened. It's not what's happening. Much needed retail and dining. This is in Providence words. Currently, Sunnyvale families have only a handful of in-town options for shopping or family dining. The proposed Long Creek Crossing project would provide much needed retail and restaurant options at the heart of your community, a convenient alternative to driving miles away from your home. That sounded good. I remember reading it in the Dallas Morning News. They had a piece in there talking about retail shopping and dining coming to Sunnyvale. Hey, that sounds great. But when we're hearing about trying to strong arm a Taco Bell in here at the last hour of the last, I think one of the last lots that can go in, I'm like, no, wait a minute. What about all these things Provident was telling us? All these promises by Provident with retail, dining, and shopping. They have got, this was an expensive flyer they put out to get passed. They didn't just send this out to the affected neighbors, they sent this to our entire neighborhood. They were taking neighbors of ours to restaurants and telling them how nice this is going to be. You know, they got pictures on here of kids skipping. I guess today they're thinking of them skipping from the Burger King to the Taco Bell. I mean, here they are at a beautiful horizon, a beautiful sunset. That's not what we have. You wouldn't let your kids walk from one to the other because all the traffic going through. We're already talking about traffic problems we're having and the danger we're having. They're admitting it and saying we need a traffic light out there. Absolutely. It's not what it was being promoted. You know, this is an amendment they're asking for. And this is not, this whole development, they got Chick-fil-A, and our understanding as it was described to us, it was going to be Chick-fil-A and going up in quality, not Chick-fil-A and going down in quality. We'll get you copies of this. You know, we kept it. This is in their words. This is not our words. The proposed master plan development near Highway 80 and Collins Road will bring quality retail and dining options that Sunnyvale needs. Not there. Not there. So, let me give you one other example on this.
Gene, I truly appreciate, we all appreciate what you're saying, but the limit is typically 3 minutes, and we've gone now for almost 10 minutes.
Okay.
If you could just find a wrapping up point so I could get to the other people that want to come.
Yeah, sure. I guess what I would ask is, why don't we give Provident the opportunity to keep their word and put in one of the types of businesses that they said for dining, upscale dining, shopping. There's 2 categories they haven't met either. Why don't we give them that opportunity to put one of those in before agreeing to a variance? We are opposed, our neighborhood is opposed to the variance.
Thank you, sir. Steve Brown, would you like to come up and speak? Please state your name and address for the record.
Steve Brown, 165 Ranchero here in Sunnyvale. Reason I'm here is more because of what hasn't happened. And we were sold a bill of goods when this was approved. We attended the meetings, and again, as Gene said, they painted a picture for us, which was great. Landscaping, trees, at all the entrances and things of that nature. None of that's taking place, for whatever reason. And we were told at the time, once the streets and everything went in, the trees and everything would follow. So we did get the wall, but there's supposed to be a line of trees as well as the landscaping. In fact, I have documentation there which shows what type of trees, the sage and what have you. Again, none of that has happened. And again, I know Gene spoke on it, is the restaurants that, again, there's fast food restaurants everywhere. So we were excited to have some real food nearby, and again, that hasn't happened. And that's my disappointment. So I'm not sure where this all stands in the whole scheme of things, but again, we were sold a bill of goods that has yet to be come to fruition. And that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Brian Hembry. Please state your name and address for the record.
It's Brian Hemby, 431 Hunters
Apologize.
Creek Drive in Stone Canyon. And I've been there 21 years. I was the 5th house in that development. Okay? First of all, I'd like to say I'm a real simple person. To me, calling Taco Bell a restaurant is like calling a garage sale an estate sale. To me, that's not the same thing. As far as I know, there's one restaurant over here. It's Dos Choros, and I didn't even know it was there, and I live 1,000 yards from it until a couple of days ago. So that bothers me. The other thing is I'm curious about the traffic report. I don't know if they took into consideration what people do when they don't want to take their life in their hands and dart out on Collins Road. The frontage road is one way east, so they don't have any choice but to go that way, go all the way down, take a overpass and come back this way. If they want to go south on Collins Road, one of the options they've chosen to take is to cut through the middle of that development right in front of our gate where the stop signs are. I've almost been hit there by people who are not wanting to go out on the main road but cut across by the front gate of our entrance. That's their way out. The other way, of course, is to cut through our development and go out Bandera Street so that they can go back east. So I don't know if the traffic report is totally reliable. Also, if you're waiting to get into the Stone Canyon entrance and you're coming from the real Sunnyvale, which is on the north side of 80, and you're coming into our development, you have the same turn lane that the people going to all these other places take. And so you're behind everybody, and all you want to do is go in your gate. Okay? And so that's another issue. And that's really all I think about, because I think about how much like Gene said, we were told originally, we were also told when they built this across the street over here that we were gonna have an upscale grocery store. I'm still waiting on that. But I figure I'll be waiting a long time for that to happen. What we got is a QT gas station and a Whataburger. What we need is another gas station and another fast food restaurant, if you wanna call them that. And that's all I gotta say about it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Since no one else is wishing to come forward and speak, we'll go ahead and close the public comment section. Would the applicant like to answer or address any of the concerns raised about the traffic study for lights? No? Okay. And we will move this to the discussion of the members portion of this meeting.
I'll go ahead and jump out there, start things off. So I was a member of the Type 4B Economic Development Committee for 8 years and was part of the very original Provident purchase of this property from the town. And I was a big supporter of the project at the time, which we started talking about back in 2015, I think. Of course, at the time when we bought the land, we were given the choice of develop it ourselves or turn it over to a well-respected developer. And so we did make that decision to bring on Provident and do the master plan development. However, as Mr. Swank pointed out, the intention was to do the more, upscale sit-down restaurants, possibly even some boutique businesses, retail businesses, more of a if you build it, they will come type process. And so during that time, the QT came in from across the road, and so we have ended up with very many drive-through restaurants, which was not the original intention. The Chick-fil-A was a big win, but other than that, I think there has been some general concerns expressed around town, and this subject keeps rearing its ugly head. And so here we are going on 2024, and I've been talking about Provident and this development for nearly 10 years. So I just wanted to just speak and let everyone know it's not lost on me personally that we're having this conversation still, and I have my own concerns about another drive-through restaurant going in that space, because that's not what we were looking for. I think there could be an opportunity for some type of small retail store to go there to try to finish off the property, and not make the traffic worse, and that way we can move on. So those are my general comments.
Got a question. Maybe you can answer this. Because the applicant stated that there really wasn't a specific use, but on the original concept plan, it states restaurant, gas. If there wasn't an intended use or specific use for each lot, why were those on there?
So we did have a particular applicant at the very beginning of the project that had a gasoline component to it. And so that lot was designated as retail or gas/retail for that reason. And it's right there at the very corner of the property. We thought it was going to be sort of the anchor. And so that didn't come to fruition at the very beginning of the project, and the Chick-fil-A became more of the focus. There was discussion at the very beginning about it being all restaurants, but very quickly we were made aware of a medical building opportunity for the very far east section, which is farthest away. So that was why medical office was put there at the very end. I don't know if I answered your question or not there.
Yeah, you did, basically meaning that there was a specific use for each one.
There were. I mean, our intention was for the majority of it to be restaurant and retail, yes, and sit-down restaurant preferably.
Can I go ahead and speak, Ted?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm very pro-business, and I'd really love to see something in that spot. You know, we go into that area every Saturday. We went there tonight. The traffic is already the traffic. It's not gonna get any better. It's not gonna get, no matter what the report says, it's not gonna get any better. No matter what capacity you add in there, there's still gonna be traffic. There's gonna be signal lights. We've already let the gate open, so that's always going to be there. That's never gonna change again. Putting something else in there, there will be some traffic no matter what goes in there. But, you know, I understand the concern about everybody. I'm here to represent the citizens, and I'm listening to the citizens, so I'm kind of putting my personal feelings to the side, listening to them.
Anyone else?
I'll make a quick comment if I could. So I think what I heard the applicant say was, we've never followed the plans for the original concept plan. Thank you very much. We haven't followed the amendment procedure for that all along, right? And that does seem to be the case. Although, as one of our residents pointed out, I'm new on the committee, so don't know why it wasn't followed. Have since moved into the area and stuff. Seems to me that if it's there, we should follow it. And if we haven't followed it in the past, then, you know, that's too bad. We should have. But now's the time to start kind of following procedures and doing the right thing.
I just want to add, it's been pointed out, and you made it clear that we haven't followed the procedure, but based on what the residents have presented to us and have presented to us on numerous occasions, Provident has not followed the procedure as well with what was planned. That's just my final thought on all of it. Two wrongs don't make a right. I just heard that tonight again. But it looks as though we haven't been dealt what we were promised as well. So if we dropped the ball, they certainly has dropped the ball.
I've read a lot of these minutes that was just given to me not too long ago. And I still can't find anything in here where the town council approved this MPD ordinance that gave the town manager, town at the time, whatever they were calling them, 100% authority to override town council, which is an elected group of officials, or the planning and zoning, which is an approved board of officials by the elected officials. I don't see that anywhere in here. If there's no one else that wants to make a discussion on this, I'd like to entertain a motion for either a recommendation to the town council regarding the concept plan amendment for this master plan development. like I said, this is just a recommendation to the town council.
And I'll make a motion that we deny recommendation of the proposed amendment.
I have a motion from Ms. Bradford. Do we
I'll
have a
second that motion.
We have a second from Mr. Points. All those in favor of recommending denial of this, please raise your hand. All those opposed? It was unanimous for recommending denial to the town council. Because that was recommended as denial, I believe we can no longer take any action on the site plan discussion item.
You have to make a recommendation for the item, the site plan item. Even if it's a recommendation for denial, you still have to make a recommendation. Because it would still go to town council, both the concept plan amendment and the site plan.
Understood.
All right, Cynthia?
Correct.
Then I will now entertain a motion to approve or deny recommendation of the site plan to town council. Number 3. Can I get him? Go ahead.
I move that we recommend denial of the site plan as listed on the agenda.
I second that.
We have Burton makes the motion, McClellan seconds. All those in favor of recommending denial? All of those opposed? Motion passes 7-0. That concludes all of today's business. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
I will second that motion because I feel left out. All of those in favor of adjourning? All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you for coming out.